Hey everyone, WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle here. I want to give you another update on the weather situation as it stands right now across North Alabama on this 31 alert day. We've been tracking some wintry weather since the pre-dawn hours when we've had some freezing rain and some sleet that's been moving on through, and that has been causing some problems out there. There's been a little bit of a lull for maybe the last hour or so. But we've got the next little wave beginning to push on in, and it is likely going to be most impactful to you folks out into the shoals. Latest here with 31 triple Doppler will kind of focus in here. Again, relatively quiet in the Huntsville area, but we are starting to see that next little batch of frozen precip moving into Colbert and Lauderdale County. And kind of like what we saw before the out of this. So this is going to continue to cause some problems out here in the northwest corner of the state. Again, we've had primarily sleet up until now. That's laid down a little coating of ice over everything out here towards the shoals. And now we may be adding some freezing rain on top of that, basically a glaze of ice on top of the ice that's already out there. So just be aware in this area, we're going to continue to have some travel problems for a bit longer in this northwest part of the state. What we're keeping a close eye on are the temperatures across the area, because that's going to determine how long this is going to continue to be an issue and where. All right, here's the wider view on the radar, and you do see another little slug of moisture coming at us out of Mississippi. Most of this is building to the east and the northeast, even a little bit of rain showing up down towards the Birmingham area, pushing up from the south. That may be our little nose of warmer air that we've been kind of waiting on, because thus far the temperatures have been a little slow to climb here across North Alabama. They've gone up a bit in Huntsville. We're now 29, so we're getting there. But it's going to be kind of a race here around the I-65 corridor with that moisture coming in from the shoals, if we'll be able to push temperatures above freezing towards the I-65 corridor before that sets in. If we are not able to, then we may be looking at some more glaze of ice setting down after seeing a little bit of improvement here. You do notice over in Sand Mountain, we got 35 in Gunnersville. We're almost at 40 in Fort Payne. It's 45 in Gadsden. Scottsboro is right there at 32 degrees, but for a large part of Marshall, DeKalb County down into Etowah, Blount County, even Coleman County, Coleman sitting there at 37. We're not going to have problems here going through the rest of the day with any frozen precip in these areas, because temperatures have hit above 32, and we are anticipating that they will stay in that range through the remainder of the day. Again, the shoals, northwest Alabama, you've got more frozen precip to come. And as we've been telling you the last few days, that's where we have the greatest chance for ice accumulations. And again, it's going to be a close call here in the Huntsville area, Athens and Decatur. Decatur's sitting at 30. Huntsville International Airport right now coming in at 29. So again, those temperatures are going up. The question is, are they going to be able to go up enough to give us a cold rain as opposed to more freezing rain and or some sleet? So we're going to be watching that very closely as this all comes on in. Let me show you here the latest with future radar and kind of how all this is shaping up through the remainder of this afternoon. Again, where we get those temperatures above freezing, it is going to be a cold rain at that point in time. So let me show you the latest that we have here with the forecast. And this is has been doing a fairly good job with the placement, showing that initial band that's moved up into Tennessee, and it's actually doing pretty good on the placement of the new frozen precip coming into northwest Alabama and the shoals. I'm going to move this forward in time, and we will show you how this kind of holds on in these areas. Here's 3 o'clock, 3:30. We're still seeing that wintry mix out in the northwest corner of the state, but we're hopeful that here in the next couple of hours, those temperatures around Huntsville and Decatur, down to Coleman and points eastward, will continue that climb, getting above freezing in the Huntsville, Madison, Decatur area. I think it'll be a little bit of a closer call for you folks over towards Athens. So if you are in Limestone County, we may see a little bit more of that wintry mix coming through before we do get a changeover. We do expect that changing trend in the precip type to continue through late afternoon. Here's 5 o'clock. It's maybe a little bit too soon for you folks out towards the shoals, but it's possible we may start to get some areas where temperatures creep above 32 degrees out here by 5. I think certainly by 6 or 7 this evening, that changeover will happen in the northwest corner of the state. We'll certainly be in the rain for good, it appears, by 5 o'clock around Athens, Decatur, and Huntsville, starting to change from frozen precip to rainfall up towards Fayetteville, Tennessee. And aside from maybe parts of Jackson County, the northeast corner of the state, again, keep in mind Scottsboro is running around freezing, so northern and northeastern Jackson County, it might take a little bit longer to get that changeover, but that appears to be happening as we take you through the late afternoon hours. We work our way on into this evening, and tonight, I know we're still seeing here close to the Georgia border. That's kind of a question mark. There is some colder air that is kind of trying to wedge in from North Georgia into far northeastern Alabama. Little unsure if that's going to happen or not. We've not quite seen that. Again, the temperature has actually been going up in Fort Payne and Scottsboro. You've been kind of holding there around 32. It's not been getting any colder, not been getting any warmer either. So just keep in mind that there might still be some problems with icing even through the late evening hours if you're close to the Georgia border. We're talking near Stevenson, Bridgeport, there in Jackson County, down into DeKalb County. We'd be talking the Mentone area perhaps, where we might hang on to some frozen precip. Otherwise, through the evening hours, it does become all liquid. Now, there may be another gap in the precip as we hit late evening, midnight or so, but then there's going to be another wave of moisture that arrives daybreak on Sunday. But we do anticipate at this point in time, the atmosphere is going to be warm enough to support all rainfall in these areas. So once we get into the late afternoon, early evening time frame, I think we're going to wind down the ice potential here across the area. And then it's just a cold rain that we're going to be tracking as we take you through the day Sunday. In fact, I'll show you how it gets pretty soggy. Some widespread heavier rainfall, not out of the question. We might get a couple rumbles of thunder. It's actually a severe weather threat tomorrow from around Montgomery and point southward in the southern part of the state. We're not going to have to worry about that around here, but there is going to be some persistent and heavy rain through the morning hours on Sunday. You do see kind of on the back edge here, western Lauderdale County, west there, northwest of Muscle Shoals, mid-morning tomorrow. On the back edge of the rainfall, there may be a changeover back to some frozen precip, so perhaps a little bit more of that for some of you in the shoals. That gets about, I guess, as far east as just west of Florence. This is the lunch hour on Sunday. The rest of us are seeing a cold rain. And then we are expecting the moisture to move out of here heading into the afternoon hours. But the trade-off is going to be more cold air coming on in. And because we're going to have a fair amount of moisture around through the morning on Sunday, I think the roads will still be pretty wet. At the time we bring temperatures back below freezing and into the 20s late Sunday afternoon and into Sunday evening. So there's concern that on the back side of this system, although we may not necessarily have a lot of frozen precip at the tail end, we may still have a problem with ice on roadways as that remaining water doesn't get a chance to dry up and instead may freeze up as we head into Sunday evening, Sunday night, and into Monday morning. So there may be some more travel issues at that point in time with this weather maker that is causing so many problems for so many people across the country and including around here. Again, kind of a lull in the precip. That has helped with the travel situation, which has gotten a little bit better. And we'll show you what we've got here traffic-wise. There are still some reports of some accidents. And you do see out here in the shoals A lot of slowdowns as a result of primarily sleet that has accumulated on roadways out here. Things are better around Athens, Decatur, and Huntsville. Earlier this morning when we had it was light preset officially out at Huntsville International Airport. I think they only recorded 2 or 3/100ths of an inch of rain, but when you're talking about ice, that's all it takes, and that's why we had some problems earlier. I guess some of the pre-treating that was done around the Huntsville Metro maybe wasn't effective for whatever reason, and that's why we had problems with some accidents earlier. But it does look like the roads, at least for now, have temporarily cleared up. And again, although there are a few trouble spots out here where I think from earlier accidents, I don't think any accidents have happened really here as of late, but these are some earlier ones, particularly involving some tractor trailers, so those sometimes take a little bit longer to get everything cleared out. And some of the roadways are back open. I know 565 was closed for a bit. I have seen traffic moving back on it again, so it appears most, if not all, of 565 perhaps back open. Not sure if the Parkway, though, is reopened at this point in time, so just keep that in mind. But obviously, if you don't have to be out, I would just not recommend it until we get this change, until we get the temperatures above freezing and we start to get some cold rain in here. Otherwise, I would just plan on staying in just to be on the safe side. Let me do a quick check here. As we are streaming on our social platforms, we're also streaming on the WAAY 31 StormTracker Weather app, the news app as well on our website. And let's see if there's any questions I can answer. Ashley asking thoughts on roads from Fort Payne to Hazel Green Monday around 11 a.m. to noon. Will the sun help make it dryable? Yes, the sun will help on Monday, even though it's going to be cold. I mean, I would say, and of course, you think the weather's hard to predict. What about trying to predict what road conditions are going to be like? That all depends on temperature, ground temperature, whether it's been treated or not, sun's out, or it's the middle of the night. So lots of things there. But I would say by midday on Monday, if we do have any black ice problems, Sunday evening, Sunday night into Monday morning, I would think by midday Monday we would have some improvement, even though it's going to be below freezing. But we are going to have some sun coming back on Monday in that very, very cold air. And the roads will absorb some of that solar radiation, and that will heat them just enough. So, Ashley, I'm optimistic that at that point in time from Fort Payne to Hazel Green, you won't have any big travel issues. But, you know, check back with us on Monday just in case that changes. What about Franklin County, Lincoln County, Tennessee? Brenda asking about that. You're going to be a little bit later to change over. So you're likely going to pick up a little bit more in the way of frozen precip with this next round that's coming on in. But I do expect by, you know, late afternoon, early evening, we're going to see that transition there in southern Tennessee as well from frozen to liquid precipitation. But I'd still give it until late afternoon or early evening before I would expect that to happen there. I'm not sure, Anthony asking, how much snow get in Clay? I don't exactly know what location you're asking for. For here in North Alabama, we're not expecting any snowfall. In fact, we told you the last couple days that any snow would be limited, that we were more tracking ice, sleet, and freezing rain, and that's indeed what we've gotten at this point. David asking, Lawrence County, Alabama, good to go until Monday morning. I would say not good to go for the next several hours this afternoon. I would say good to go this evening, tonight, tomorrow morning, but maybe not good to go tomorrow evening and tomorrow night if we get that freeze up of moisture on the roads and black ice. No, not entirely good to go until Monday morning in Lawrence County. No, not at all. Okay, let me check. That's my page. I'm going to run over here to the WAAY 31 Facebook page just to check comments. And then I'm going to jump off of here. And we're going to continue to provide these updates through the afternoon hours, particularly as conditions change for better or worse, hopefully for the better. Let me see what we got here question-wise on the WAAY page. Melanie wanting the next several hours look like for Killen. I'd expect more freezing rain and or sleet. It might be sleet, but more likely the atmospheric profile looks like it's going to be more supportive of freezing rain. Shayna asking, is sleet and freezing rain completely over with for Madison? I would say not completely over. Again, it's going to be a close call. Going to be a close call, Huntsville, Madison, as to whether we get temperatures above 32 before this next wave moves in. If there was to be a little bit more sleet and freezing rain in Madison here, hour and a half, 2 hours from now, I think it would be short-lived. But I would still give it some time in most places. Let's see, more comments here. Tony must be a friend of Tyler. Said, with today's technology, you should be better at predicting the weather. Well, I mean, we're pretty good at predicting it, but winter weather in the South, it's hard. I mean, we're talking, if you lived in Michigan, right, no brainer. It's cold in Michigan, it's going to snow. But here, our temperatures are right on the edge. And that's what makes it difficult. Because, if it's, I don't know, May and we say, oh, it's the forecast is 85 and it only gets to 82. Does anyone care? No. But 3 degrees of difference in the winter, when you're talking about frozen precip, that makes a huge difference when your temperatures are right around freezing. If it's a couple degrees warmer, it's rain at the ground. If it's a couple degrees colder, you got a whole different story. So yes, I wish the technology could be perfect to help us, but it's not. There are limitations to technology. How many of you have to reset your phone frequently? It's technology, but it's not foolproof. So I hope that answers your question, Tony. Angela, so nothing's going to happen in Huntsville. Well, I mean, something's already happened in Huntsville. If you've been watching, we've had a lot of problems traffic-wise. Is anything additional going to happen in Huntsville? Like I said, it's a close call. I'm optimistic that we're going to get temperatures above freezing here before that next wave moves in. But if we don't, there may be another brief period where we have some problems. Let's see. Okay. I'm not going to address any more of the snarky people. I'll just ignore you. I think that pretty well covers. It's Athens Sunday morning. Jeremy asking rain, cold rain. We're very confident about that. That for most, if not all of North Alabama, it's going to be a cold rain in the morning. Brandy wanting to know, I have to drive from Meridianville to South Huntsville overnight for work. Do you think good to drive Sunday night? No, I'm not sure. If you're talking tonight, I think we're good. If you're talking Sunday night, tomorrow night, that's a question mark, when we may have some black ice out there. Rick wants to know, will the rain melt the ice? Yes. When we start getting rain, number one, we're going to get rain because the temperature near the ground and above our heads is going to be above 32. So that in and of itself is going to help melt the ice. And the rain that's falling, the temperature of the raindrops also will be above 32. So any ice that is out there, yes, the rain will help that go away once we get that change over to all liquid precip and temperatures above 32. Michelle wants to know, is Sunday afternoon the best time to travel in Madison, Limestone County if travel is necessary? I think you're going to be able to travel tomorrow. It's going to be wet. It's going to be very soggy, and there may be some heavy rain. And there'll be a little bit of the afternoon after the rain ends and before the temperatures drop that would be okay. But again, after we get late afternoon towards sunset on Sunday, we may have some problems. Victoria wanted to know about Florence. It is going to be probably 5, 6, 7 o'clock, I think, in Florence before we get warm enough for a changeover to rainfall. So heading into the evening hours, we're optimistic that things will get better there in the shoals. All right, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I hope those of you that are here for information found it informative. Those of you that are here for criticism, you know what? I also hope you found it informative and got something out of it. But we are going to go ahead and close things out now. I'll go ahead and leave the radar up here. And we are not going anywhere. I am here until at least 11 o'clock tonight, and we will continue to provide you updates as this wintry weather comes through and as we get that transition over to a cold rain. You all be safe. Keep in mind you can track the wet weather on the WAAY 31 StormTracker Weather app. Can kind of see what it's doing in your location and what's coming on in. And we'll be monitoring it for